Hezbollah is operating as a decentralized guerrilla movement. And so we'll see different cells operating more or less autonomously from the central core. And this way they're a very resilient fighting force, because even though Israel has severely degraded the strategic leadership, operational leadership of Hezbollah, they've also degraded the communication system. The different cells of the guerrilla movement are still operating fairly well. They are using initiative as they see fit. They obviously have their own zones of operation where they have been preparing for an infantry incursion or invasion from Israel for a very long time. They've prepared the ground with different tunnels, hideouts. We will see, as soon as the IDF moves into villages and sort of inhabited areas, we will see some sort of, almost like urban combat where, Hezbollah fighters will attack from the rear, will create ambushes and traps. And we've seen already that over the last 8-9 days of ground operations, that Hezbollah has been quite successful in pushing back, or at least fighting the IDF to a standstill. What Hezbollah needs now is a show of strength, showing that they're up to the task of fighting Israel to a standstill, being able to protect Lebanese territory, and also show that they're still the crown jewel of the axis of resistance, which is very important in the wider sort of Iranian network of the axis of resistance, where Hezbollah plays a very, very important role. It has to send a message of strength and resilience to their partners in Syria and Iraq and Yemen, and also towards Iran, if you will. And then there's obviously a very important message that Hezbollah needs to send also of deterrence to Israel, showing to the Israeli public that Hezbollah is up for the fight, because obviously over the last 3 weeks, there's been quite a lot of euphoria in Israel, if I may say even hubris in Israel, to think that the war was already over, that Hezbollah had already collapsed and it's been decimated. And the opposite is the truth. You see that the IDF is really struggling on the ground, not making a lot of progress. And obviously, as casualties will mount, Israeli casualties in particular, this is an element of psychological warfare. I think Hezbollah is holding back ballistic missiles for a kind of time of no return, if you will. These are the weapons of last resort, which is surprising considering that Hezbollah is under immense pressure. But I think they do know that once they fire these ballistic missiles, they're going to give away where they are, where they're stationed, and give Israel a pretext to bomb there. And secondly, it will also cross another red line whereby Israel will have to expand even further. And I think there is a hope within the Hezbollah leadership that a potential ceasefire deal or a diplomatic solution to this standoff is still possible. Hezbollah wants to survive. They don't want to be completely degraded. They don't want the IDF to move too far into Lebanon, and hope that this fairly limited invasion stays as limited as possible.
And facing Israel, now Hezbollah has a dual strategy. One, they want to maintain bombing northern Israel, keeping the pressure on Israel. And this is a negotiating card, or one of the cards, one of the leverages that Hezbollah has over the Israeli side. And two, they want to push back and slow down the Israeli ground invasion to demonstrate that they are a potent force and they're viable. And also to give themselves time. For them, they understand that the timing now is paramount. They understand that the U.S. elections is going to be on the 1st of November, and after that, the pressure might mount on the Israelis. It might not, but it might mount on the Israelis, and there will be more diplomatic effort on that front. What we have seen in the past 2 weeks suggests that Israel has advanced intelligence capabilities. And whether it applies to the ground invasion is yet to be seen. You know, where these intel capabilities concentrated around warehouses in South Lebanon and facilities in the southern suburbs of Beirut, or do they include the tunnel system? We haven't seen any sophisticated strikes against the tunnel system so far, which suggests that Hezbollah will maintain an ability to strike against Israeli forces in the south, even as Israel uses immense firepower and massive destruction against the towns around the border region. So I think the question of how will Hezbollah resist and how strong will the pushback be is banking on whether Israel has any more surprises up its sleeves, or we've moved beyond that, and now it's a regular ground invasion of which Hezbollah is fully prepared and will inflict casualties on the Israeli side.